Saturday Night Live from Madison Square Garden in New York City. Israel Adesanya will defend his UFC middleweight title against Alex Pereira in the main event of UFC 281. Let's break it down. Alex Pereira is 35 years old. He's 6'4" with a 79-inch reach and a record of 6-1 with 5 knockouts. From São Paulo, Brazil, Pereira grew up in a poor working-class neighborhood, dropping out of school at the age of 12 and becoming an alcoholic, eventually taking up kickboxing in 2009 to help him get over his addiction. In 2012, he won the WGP middleweight title and 2 years later won the Glory middleweight tournament with a first-round knockout of Dustin Jacoby and a decision over Sahak Parparian. During his impressive kickboxing run, he went on to defeat future UFC middleweight champion Israel Adesanya twice, once by unanimous decision and once by a thunderous counter left hook knockout, before becoming the first person to hold 2 belts simultaneously when he defeated Artem Valhitov by split decision to win the light heavyweight title. After amassing a kickboxing record of 33-7 with 21 knockouts, he made the transition over to MMA, making his debut in October of 2015 with a third-round rear-naked choke submission loss to Quemuel Ottoni. He bounced back 3 months later with a vicious first-round knockout of Marcelo Cruz and followed that up with devastating knockouts over Marcus da Silva and Thomas Powell before making his UFC debut in November of 2021 with a flying knee knockout of Andreas Michailidis. 4 months later, he defeated Bruno Silva by unanimous decision, and on July 2nd, 2022, he became the number 4 contender with a brutal knockout of the highly regarded Sean Strickland, dropping him with a savage counter left hook, followed by a right cross to earn his second straight performance of the night. An elite-level counter-striker, Pereira uses his world-class kickboxing skills to set the pace and control the distance, where he lands at a blistering 6.2 strikes per minute at a 60% accuracy rate and possesses one-punch knockout power in both hands. Israel Adesanya is 33 years old. He's 6'4" with an 80-inch reach and a record of 23-1 with 15 knockouts. Born in Lagos, Nigeria, he moved to New Zealand at the age of 10 and at 18 took up kickboxing, where he amassed a record of 32-0 before starting to train at the famed City Kickboxing Gym alongside Dan Hooker and Alexander Volkanovski. He began training in both kickboxing and boxing, compiling records of 5-1 and 75-5 respectively. He turned professional in MMA in 2012 with a first-round knockout and won his first 11 fights, all by stoppage, before retiring from kickboxing after being brutally knocked out by Alex Pereira. He made his UFC debut in 2017, knocking out Rob Wilkinson with a flurry of punches and knees, and 3 months later engaged in a close brawl with Marvin Vettori, edging him out for a split decision. Later that year, he knocked out perennial contender Derek Brunson with a left hook and followed that up with a dominant win over legendary former champion Anderson Silva. On October 13, 2019, he fought Kevin Gastelum, winning the interim middleweight belt after a brutal back-and-forth slugfest, and 7 months later unified the title when he knocked out Robert Whittaker with a brutal left hook in round 2. After a convincing decision over Yoel Romero, he blew out number 1 contender Paulo Costa, controlling the distance with his jab and leg kicks and stopping him with a vicious ground and pound. On March 6, 2021, he stepped up to light heavyweight, but despite entering as a heavy favorite, he was completely dominated by champion Jan Blachowicz, getting outstruck in the first 3 rounds and then out-wrestled in the 4th and 5th rounds to lose by unanimous decision. He bounced back 3 months later with a dominant decision over a longtime rival Marvin Vettori and followed that up in February of 2022 with a close decision in a rematch with former champion Robert Whittaker. On July 2, 2022, he took on Jared Cannonier, putting on another masterclass and dominating the Killer Gorilla with a stiff jab and a steady stream of body kicks. An exceptionally agile counter-striker, Adesanya has an excellent striking game, setting up his opponents with feints and jabs and overwhelming them with a versatile array of strikes from all angles. Will the devastating power and pace of Pereira be enough to take out the current number 2 pound-for-pound champion? Or will the slick counter-punching and versatility of the last style bender prove to be too much for his inexperienced rival, as both men try to put an emphatic and definitive end to their long-running rivalry? Tune in Saturday night to UFC 281, Pereira vs. Adesanya, and let's find out.